It all started 2 months ago. A guy was walking his dog in the park when he saw a dead body in the bushes. He was startled, but thought it may be a botched robbery. The police were called and it was going to be a regular investigation. The troubling evidence came during the autopsy. She was missing 7 teeth, 3 ribs, and her femur. At first it seemed that the murderer was some sick bastard that took his prize from his victim. But there were no wounds on the woman's body. She was missing ribs, but her torso was completely intact, as well as her leg that had a femur taken from it. The missing teeth could have been due to previous bad hygiene, but it didn't explain the other missing bones. There were no cuts or scars on her skin, which would indicate surgeries or injuries at the scene. It was like they were plucked from her body, without a trace. I work as a news anchor in town and have close relations with the public authorities, including the police. Guys I've worked with for the past 12 years were too scared to tell me about the crime. It was agreed we'd do the story about a murderer in the park, but leave out the missing bones until an adequate explanation came up. Just 3 days later, another body surfaced. This time, it was a man in his shower. Initially, authorities thought he slipped and died from a head injury, but there were no signs of trauma. Another autopsy was performed and more chilling evidence was discovered. He was missing his jaw and all the bones in his right hand were gone. Again, no cuts, scars, or signs of injury were evident. It was as if the same guy who killed that poor woman killed him as well. I did a deep dive on the two people using social media and any conversations the families would give me, but there was no connection. She was married with a husband. He was a single guy who moved into town a few months ago. Police were curious if the two were having a relation behind her husband's back, and he was getting revenge, but that theory was squashed almost immediately. The husband was out of town for a business trip during both deaths and had receipts and alibis to prove it. There was a killer on the loose. He took 2 victims with no ties to each other. The next week, another man was killed. He was found in his bed without a trace of foul play. The autopsy revealed that there were no traces of drugs or alcohol in his system that would have killed him, along with no signs of breaking into the home. He was missing his right radius, bone in your forearm, 6 vertebrae from his spine, his patella, kneecap, and his left ankle. For simplicity, I will stop using the medical names for bones in the body. We're not all anatomy experts. I work on television, for God's sake. Again, there were no signs of injury that would give any indication on how the bones went missing. His coworker didn't hear from him for 3 days and couldn't get into his house. He called the cops and saw his dead body with the officers. I went down to the police station the next day to speak with the chief of police personally, but he was as clueless as I was. He said they've been doing everything they can to make a connection or place a person at the crime scenes, but it was getting difficult. They've spoken with over 20 people in the past week and gained nothing from it. As we were in the middle of our conversation, a call came in. The next death was another man. He was found at his dining room table with his meal still on the plate, his lifeless body draped over the chair. There was no blood, no injuries. He looked asleep as far as I was concerned. His wife was questioned but ruled out as a suspect. She was out having dinner with her parents when it happened. Again, an autopsy was performed and revealed he was missing all the bones in 4 fingers, the bones in his left foot, and his left shoulder. I rode along with the officer to the scene and saw the horror in his eyes filled with utter cluelessness. I went home to investigate online and see if this was a cult tactic or an ancient practice. I was listening to music and reading conspiracy theory blogs when I heard the door to my house open. I assumed it was my wife and went back to reading as if nothing happened. Within seconds, I felt a cold arm around my neck. It squeezed as I flailed my arms around. I looked and reached for my neck, but saw nothing more than a black mass. I put my foot against my desk and pushed, which knocked me out of my chair. As soon as I hit the ground, the pressure around my neck disappeared, and I heard every door from my office to the front door slam shut. My wife came running down to see what happened, and I told her I had no clue. I called the police, but their investigation proved nothing. The front door was intact and locked when they arrived. The following week, 2 officers were killed. One was sitting on his phone at the front desk, and the other was taking his break. Neither showed any signs of trauma, but the police cameras caught them thrashing for their lives as they looked like their souls were being sucked from their bodies. The total count of missing bones was 16 vertebrae, 11 fingers, a right foot, 9 ribs, a right shoulder, all 3 bones in a leg, and a skull. His face was untouched, but lay lifeless like an uninflated balloon. The police issued an emergency broadcast the following day, pleading people to stay indoors and avoid areas where these crimes happened. I watched it from my office as I continued to study the crimes, and I drew a conclusion. All these murders happened to people when they were most vulnerable. The woman was alone in the park, the first guy was taking a shower, the other was sitting down having dinner. I had headphones on when I was attacked, and the two officers were relaxing when they died. It wasn't the greatest clue, but it was something. I went to the police department immediately. I told the police chief about my findings, and he wasn't thrilled about it. He knew that if I was right, their emergency broadcast meant nothing. You could stay inside your house all day, but everyone must sleep, use the restroom, and can't just have a buddy with them at all hours of the day. I made another chilling discovery through all this. There's almost a full human body worth of bones missing from the victims. Granted, no brains, eyes, tendons, or muscles are missing, so it's not as if a full-functioning human body is going to appear from this. But it's still horrifying to me. The next day, another body was found. It was a woman who was grilling herself a meal in the backyard. I'll save the details. Every bone which makes a full body was taken from her, along with her skin. I had to cover the story. It's a crime to hide this from people who only want to be safe. My story went live and I got a call from the police department. A new transfer wanted to speak with me in private. I drove over to the station to speak with the new guy, but there was something weird about him. His body was a weird shape, as if he had a disorder which affected his growth. I also noticed his bones cracked a lot when he walked. It was weird to me, but not enough to mention anything. I didn't want to offend the poor guy. We sat down in an uncomfortably small room where he sipped his coffee, sunglasses still hugging his bumpy face.
So, you're really looking into these killings?
Yeah, I'm a news anchor. This is my job, sir.
Well, I'll have you know I've been on the force for 20 years. I recommend you let me handle this.
Why?
Because I don't need people like you getting in the way of my business.
I could tell there was a lot of hostility and tension in the room, and the police were a pivotal role in my job. Sir, I'm only trying to help you. How could I be a bother? I asked. He pulled down his sunglasses to reveal dark holes where his eyes should be. His clenched teeth showed visible gaps, as if he didn't have nearly half a full mouth of teeth. He looked as if he could jump on me in an instant.
Because I've already tried to kill you once. Don't make me try again.
Why are you doing this? I asked.
Because you're oblivious. Thinking you're safe in your own home is a lie that everyone falls for. You think that the human body is strong, but there are countless possibilities where it can all fall apart. Bones can be broken, tendons torn. Simple viruses can send your body into a shell shock, causing you to hope some man-made medicine can magically fix you. If you want to live in the deception that you're safe and nothing will happen to you, that's where others will find their chance to take advantage. Nobody is safe, and life isn't a guarantee. I've proven this several times in the past few weeks. I walked these same streets before you were born, and my life was ripped away from me. I'm getting it back, even if I have to do it piece by piece. And there are hundreds like me that are itching for their chance as well. I came up with this idea and gave it a shot. If you think you have a snowball's chance in hell at stopping us, good luck. Leave me alone and forget about these little coincidences as well.
Are you a ghost? I asked in wild curiosity and fear.
Well, some people would call me a ghost. Others might say a demon, a poltergeist. I don't worry about it much.
How many people will you kill?
I'm done killing. This is my body now. And as far as the others, who knows how many they will kill?
He replied, casting neither worry nor concern.
Get away from here as soon as you can. I was the first one to do it. I risked it all while the others silently watched. Now they know it's possible. Who knows how many will make their rounds through the next few weeks. Get out of here and take anyone you care about with you. This town belongs to us now.